There was once a man named Dennis. Dennis was not special. He wasn't smart, brave, talented, or mysterious. Dennis once lost an argument to a chair. But Dennis had one thing going for him. He was confident for no reason. Every morning, Dennis woke up and said, "Today is my day." The universe responded by sighing deeply. One morning, Dennis woke up feeling different. Not sick, not tired, just slightly overconfident, like he had won a race he never entered. He brushed his teeth for 47 seconds longer than usual. He winked at himself in the mirror. The mirror did not consent, but it allowed it. Dennis went outside and immediately tripped on nothing. Not air, not a crack, just nothing. He stood up, nodded at the ground, and said, "We'll talk later." On the bus, Dennis sat next to a woman eating yogurt aggressively. She stared at him and said, "You look like someone who microwaves grapes." Dennis didn't know what that meant, but it felt personal. At work, Dennis worked at a place called Global Solutions. Nobody knew what they solved, including global. Dennis sat at his desk and opened his computer. The computer updated for 38 minutes. Dennis aged emotionally. When the computer finally turned on, Dennis forgot what his job was. This was normal. His boss walked by and said, "Dennis, thoughts?" Dennis panicked, but instead of words, he said, "Absolutely." The boss nodded. This impressed everyone. At lunch, Dennis ordered a salad because he was trying to be better, then ate only the croutons like a raccoon with ambition. As he chewed, Dennis had a realization. Nothing made sense. But it never really had. This was freeing. Dennis began to lean into it. He started responding to emails with phrases like, "Circling back spiritually. Let's unpack this emotionally. Per my last vibe." People stopped asking him questions. After work, Dennis went to the grocery store. He stood in the produce aisle for 12 minutes, holding a lemon, thinking about nothing. A child walked past him and whispered, "That man knows too much." Dennis did not, but he appreciated the respect. At checkout, the cashier asked, "Paper or plastic?" Dennis paused, then said, "Whatever protects the eggs." There were no eggs. The cashier nodded slowly. That night, Dennis went home and watched a documentary about ants. Halfway through, he felt deeply connected to them, even though he had never met one personally. Before bed, Dennis looked at the ceiling and thought, "Am I doing life correctly?" The ceiling said nothing. Classic ceiling. The next day, Dennis woke up and realized something huge. Nobody knew what they were doing. Some people just wore better shoes. Dennis smiled. From that day on, Dennis stopped trying to make sense. He waved at strangers. He trusted elevators. He stopped reading instructions entirely. And weirdly, everything worked out the same. Years later, Dennis became known as that guy who's weirdly calm. When asked for advice, Dennis said, "Just show up, say absolutely when confused, and always protect the eggs, even if there aren't any." Nobody knew what he meant, but somehow it helped.